Coming to you live from downtown Detroit, this is Benzinga's PreMarket Prep with your host, Joel Elconin.
This is a volatile puppy here, isn't it?
And Dennis Dick.
I've been a penny. I will buy the stock for a penny.
With everything you need to start your trading day.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to this Tuesday edition of Benzinga's Pre-Market Prep. Spencer Israel, as always, joined by Joel Elconin and Dennis Dick on the show today. The pod stocks are in focus. Well, they're in focus most mornings, quite frankly. The auto stocks are in focus. We're supposed to get quarterly and monthly sales today, somewhere in the 9 or 10 o'clock hours when they usually come out. So GM, Ford, Fiat, Chrysler, Toyota, Honda, expecting to hear from those companies later in the morning. We have a new stake from Icon causing some movement in TEN, and earnings, of course, Pepsi and SFIX, and a lot of ratings this morning. So we'll get to as many of the big ones as we can. Our guest today, Nic Chahine, he joins us every Tuesday. He is the author of Create Income with Option Spreads. He'll join us at 8:35. Joel, what is the word in the overnight session?
We're in the red by 5 handles. The DES S&P futures finding some resistance here at settlement, 29.30. That stands as your pre-market high. Your pre-market low, 29.1750. That takes out yesterday's low, but a lot of numbers, a lot of things lining up at 29.20 here. So that's going to be my minor support here this morning. Crude at its highest level since July of 2015, trading up a penny at 75.31. 75.91 was your high. 76.21 was your high way back in July of 15. Gold under 1,200, but up 420 at 1195.90. Silver in the green here by 8 cents at 14.59. And I don't think Bitcoin moves off 6,500 here, trading down $25 at 65.20. Dennis, your eyes are moving this morning. There's a lot of stocks moving in both directions. And so far, we haven't really been able to drill down the news of some of these issues. So we will wait for that. What do you see?
Well, I can tell you most of the news here. And actually, right when we started the show at 8 o'clock, interesting headline here from Kroger and Walgreens. Kroger and Walgreens joined together in an exploratory pilot. They're to develop one-stop shopping experience. So it looks like Kroger and Walgreens teaming up here. WBA not moving here this morning, no trades, but Kroger blasted off on that headline right at 8 o'clock. Actually is trading up $1 here right now in the pre-market. Although some sellers are coming in, the spread's really wide. But, I mean, obviously, teaming up with Walgreens sounds like it can't hurt Kroger.
Well, it's only at 13 stores in Kentucky, so I wouldn't count your chickens just yet. But
they counted them a little bit in the pre-market. They bought it up over 3%, but they're starting to regret those buys. Somebody bought 3,000 shares up at 29.73, so significant volume. Already offered at 29.65, but it's interesting. I mean, they're trying to find different ways, to obviously a one-stop shopping experience, take on the big guns, potentially take on Amazon as well, because they know Amazon's coming after Kroger and coming after Walgreens. So the competitors are teaming up.
Yeah, pre-market high comes in at 29.73, holding up near that high. So we got some more work to do perhaps here on the upside. Let's see, 30.34. That gets into the gap area from earnings. So there's another potential target if things really open up to 31. I mean, they're trying different things. I mean, this doesn't sound like a merge or anything of that nature. But
it's a joint venture.
Why not? Why not try something?
Why not? I say so too. I like it. I think it's. I think I would bid it up a bit on. I don't know if I'm buying up 3% on the thing, but I mean, both stocks have kind of Kroger's kind of been in the gutter here. I know it came back. Walgreens been on a little bit of a run for the last couple of months, but really when you put it in perspective, you look at these charts in the monthlies. Walgreens $95 in 2015, it's $72 today. I mean, last 2-3 years, both of these stocks are down in that same time period. So why not try some things? Maybe something like this works.
Okay. All right. You want to cover some earnings stocks?
Yeah. Well, let's go. Okay, sure. We'll do Stitch Fix from last night, SFIX, because that thing's getting rocked here this morning, down 19%. Spencer, give us the details. We'll talk about this online Stitch Fix, whatever.
So the EPS was great, 17 cents versus a 4-cent estimate. Sales came in just under the estimates, 318.3 versus $318.6 million, and the guidance came in line. But you have to remember with online, so with subscription services like this, a lot of it comes down to active users or subscribers, or whatever metric they go by to whatever they call that metric. In this case, Stitch Fix, that missed the estimates. Active clients grew by 2.7 million people last quarter. Analysts were expecting for a 2.81 million new user, subscriber growth, whatever you want to call it. So that number came in below the estimates, and I think what people are subscribing is the reason for the sell-off.
Just not good enough. I mean, the stock has been an unbelievable performer this year. It's run up. We look at where it started the year. We started way back in 2018. Well, I guess we started around 25, but we meandered for the first 6 months. So in June, we were $20. And then we decided to explode in the last quarter. They're getting over $50. And, then we sold off a little bit since then. Rallied into the earnings to a certain extent. We were trading up there yesterday. So expectations a little bit too high, and they were disappointed and trading down at $35. What do you think here, Joel? You get a significant pullback on a stock that was very favored. Is this like a BTFD opportunity here for you, or is this something that's just a little bit too much?
There's a buyer out there, Dennis. Where's
the buyer? Tell me where the buyer is.
I'll tell you. The initial dip took you down under $35 to $34.85, and then when you got up and started trading around 4 this morning. Got into the lower 34 handle, got into 34 1/4, and they've just been raising their bids here, basis the 15-minute chart. So I mean, if you do,
you think the low's end?
Yeah, I do.
So Joel's a BTFDer here.
I am not. Yeah. And it's just, I mean, I can't find anything great on the dailies. To get, to verify 34.82 was your August 22nd low. Yeah. And I'm not thinking that it's like new longs coming into the market. I mean, what if you've been getting jammed on a short here? Really, everyone that shorted this thing since the end of August, beginning of end of August is underwater here. And now what better opportunity are you going to get to cover your short? I mean, it looks like someone's trying to bring in some stock here, leaning on the pre-market low, and this is just basis the 15-minute chart here. Looks like someone's raising their bids. A little bit of a step-up buyer here in Stitch Fix.
Jump over to PepsiCo, PEP, which reported earnings here this morning. They are trading slightly in the red here, Spencer. Did we get the Pepsi report? Because it's only down 40 cents.
Yeah, we got them at 6 a.m. This morning. So the Q3 EPS of $1.59 is a 2-cent beat. Sales $16.49 versus $16.36 billion. So a beat on the top and the bottom line for the third quarter. The fiscal year organic growth will be at least 3%. They're giving some comments on the call. It's happening right now, I believe. But nothing too noteworthy to come out of that yet.
This is kind of just crickets here in Pepsi. I mean, it's trading around settlement. It traded up a little bit, traded down a little bit. Actually, it didn't really trade. It traded up last night a little bit, traded down a little bit on the numbers, bouncing back. It doesn't look like any action here at all, Joel.
No, it's trading at 110.01. That's down 70 cents. But you're right at yesterday's range here, right? It closed down. I mean, there's nothing going on. I would just like to see how it trades here. If it holds settlement here, get a chance to rally, maybe 112 handle. Big sellers in the 112 handle over the last 5 sessions. Coming back on the downside, people thought you had a bottom here just under 111. So keeping an eye on that closing price of 110.71.
This market is bouncing back from those lows. Yes. It was really ugly there overnight here. About 2 hours ago, it was looking like we're going to have a really rough day, but we are coming back. BTFD to the rescue. Only other earnings play we had was Paychex, PAYX. Don't see any action there. So did it report yet? I saw it on my calendar. Am I wrong?
No, you're right to have them on your calendar, but I think they're
8:30.
No, yeah, they're definitely not out yet. So they're this morning.
Okay, so we're waiting on Paychex. We'll come back to that one. Let's go to the ratings.
Is that
There's
is
just
okay.
There's just a ton of ratings here. Let's go to GE from yesterday because we and Joel were dogging it up at 13. That was correct. Wish I would have shorted it because the stock came all the way down into the 11 handle. They're giving a lot of it back. It is bouncing here this morning. The reason it is bouncing is we get the double upgrade. So a couple analysts are liking the CEO change. Wolf and RBC both upgrading the stock here this morning. Stock is trading up at 1240, getting a lift. I still think there's major resistance up there at 13, so I think you get in the upper 12s. I'm a seller.
Up 31 cents here, 1240, trading at the highs of the pre-market session. I'd like to see it fill the gap down to 1151. Obviously, with the upgrade today, we're not going to see that. And just
Joel, am I making you sick? That was a pretty good mute. I got to give you that one. You were quick on that mute button mid-sentence. That was pretty good. You had a cough.
Well, why? He's looking at me like I did something wrong.
I
didn't. The audio didn't cut out. Joel was quick on the mute button, and he had a cough, and he literally hit mute in the mid-cough. I don't know. He's quick on those trigger fingers there. That's all those trading skills over the years, those online trading. Quick on the mute button, quick on the cough. You know what? If we didn't have a video on you, we wouldn't even notice.
Let's not bring up your cold or anything there.
The cold I've been fighting for a month here, I feel like now. But
it was quick off the open, right? You know, it had that 1302 open, 1307, and all of a sudden you look, but major resistance.
The trade would have worked. Like what I said was if it opened, let's see where it opens. And I believe it opened right at 13, did it not? Right around 13. It went up like 1306 and then came back down through 13, but it was so fast. And it all happened in the first minute, and I'm so busy with so many other positions in the first minute, I never got back to it. But if it would have did it a couple minutes later, I might have been able to play it through it, but I just never got back around to it. But hopefully some people got short because we were all over that one, Joel.
Yeah, they did. I mean, it was just a big windfall for anybody that bringing in that stock, and also to put new money to work. I mean, if you even have been thinking about investing in GE and you haven't been bottom fishing, then it opens up. What was it like? 10%, over 10%, 15%. I mean, if you're going to start building a new position, after the decline that it's had, I just didn't think that'd be yesterday. And I just think you had all that. I think you had buyers and sellers in the pre-market, but, obviously the sellers went out here. Closing over 13 would be real important for GE. I don't even think we'll see 13 today.
Yeah, I don't think so either. I think you're going to have all kinds of resistance as you get up into the upper 12s. Spencer, Israel, there is so many earnings. I don't even know where to go or where to start here. We're going to go to those pot stocks. Don't worry, guys. We're going to talk those in a second. Not earnings, ratings. But their analysts were so busy. Give us 3 or 4 highlights because I noticed about 25 upgrades and downgrades. And I noticed about 50 initiations. So you got like 60 or 70 stocks that have analyst commentary here today. Is there anything jumping out at you that's like, whoa, this is off the grid here?
Also a lot of raised price targets today. A lot of maintaining and
Square
and raised price targets. You go wherever you want, man.
Let's go to Square. KeyBank analysts raising their price target from $75 up to 115. Was it 150? Yeah, 115. So Key taking it up. KeyBank and Square trading up on this. I was trading a little bit here this morning and last night. I'm out of it now, so no position now. Selling into, I was long it last night, and I sold into the rating change here this morning, or the price target raise this morning. I don't know, though. Like yesterday's candle was kind of ugly. Now you get this rating change into it. I think you get up to the upper 98s, 99s. I think you're going to find sellers. So I am actually might be a fader of this pop, but it depends on the overall market. I mean, if the market turns around and starts going higher, then Square, like rising tide lifts all ships. So I think Square, other things being equal, I think if it didn't have the rating change, I think it would be down here today. But it's getting a lift here. It's a big price target raise. We've seen these in the past, but I don't like the candle from yesterday.
I keep an eye on 99.01. That was your all-time closing high. That was on Friday. You're up 99 cents. You got to climb another buck to get there. So if you're looking at this for a potential short there, try the all-time closing high, 99.01.
Jump over. Anything else ratings land before we go to these pot stocks?
Yeah, there are some here. I guess if I can go through my list.
Just fly through.
The ones that caught my eye the most: Goldman downgrading ConocoPhillips this morning, COP buy to neutral there. Always interesting when a bank downgrades another bank. So HSBC downgrading Morgan Stanley from buy to hold. We have a Generac downgrade from KeyBank. We've been talking about that one. Generac downgrade from overweight to sector weight. KeyBank. Those were kind of the three that I thought were the most interesting, but there were a lot more.
Yeah, there was a big no from SunTrust on some of the gaming stocks. There was also a big no from Loop Capital, another no from Jefferies. I know they put ServiceNow, NOW, as one of their top picks. So ServiceNow is trading up a little bit here in the pre-market on that, but kind of a lot of ratings there. But let's go to these pod stocks because the chat has been buzzing about these things. IGC, unbelievable mover. Last night, this stock was trading up into the 12 handle. It has given all that back. It is now trading up only 60 cents into the 9 handle here. Last night also we had NBEV trading up almost to $10. It has given it back. So these pod stocks have turned here overnight and now trading down 750. Tilray is down $11. Some of the other pod stocks are following suit here. So a little bit of a give back here after it almost seemed like upside capitulation there last night. What was the highs? Let's go IGC, Joel. Look, last night, IGC, NBEV. Where did we get up to on these two stocks?
For IGC, we got a pre-market high at 12.75.
That was last night. 12.75.
What was the news on it? What was the news?
Holy man. And you know what? When this dust settles on these things, just all I'm saying is trade them, do what you want, but don't put these in your investment portfolio and forget about them, because if you do, I think you're going to lose money. So, because I think when I look at this 2 months from now, I think it's back to $2 or $3. But the buzz is hot. These things can stay hot for a long time. But we know how these stories end. They typically end, I would say probably more than 90% of the time, these stories end ugly. So as long as you're trading them, make sure you got an out. And it's not good the thing was up at 12.75 and now it's 9.50. So yeah, it's going to be volatile. It's going to trade all over the place here. But I almost feel like we just saw the top in the after-hour session at 12.75. The forever top.
And I'm sure a lot of people would like to see unchanged here. It's up 49 cents, and that was just above $9. Yesterday's close was at 9.02. Use that as support. MBEV got up. 10 is the huge level in that.
Did it get over 10?
No, I think it got up into the upper 9 handle. Let me check.
What do you got? What do you got for high last night?
12. Wait, we're talking about IGC?
NBEV. Oh, it's NBEV.
10.16.
It did get up. So this is twice now. We've seen NBEV trade into the 10 handle, and then and you say when did it do it? It did it on that date. It was in a pre-market, or in the after-hour session on the 20th. It was well into the 10 handle, and then it had the downgrade, and that's when it collapsed. So now it traded in the 10 handle again last night, and it's collapsed. Now you got a double top after hours, double top. Not that anybody charts that, but we do here. And now it's down at 750. So 10, I think the top's in. I think NBEV has topped out here around $10. So I'm a seller of rallies in NBEV.
Hunter is saying IGC has 13 employees. That's $1 per share for every employee. This is great.
No, these stocks. So, and we've talked about them, and it's been awesome. He gave us this at $2. I mean, it was unbelievable call by him. But I mean, when the stocks go at parabolic like they do here, and this gave you a second chance. They typically don't give you a second chance. So not only was it nice enough, it made the big run up from 2 to 10, then came back down to 3. I would have never guessed it would get back to 10. It gave you a second chance. Gave it to you last night. I gave it, it's somewhat given to you still at 750, but I think the story is over here. So I'm calling that 10 is going to be the forever top. My call, my opinion, but I think the story is over on these. So seller rallies in both of these.
I got flat this on the close. I just kept a little bit hip pocket and sold it yesterday. I was regretting it when it got back over 10. So I'm flatted. Don't have much of an opinion. Didn't really reload when it got down to 4. I'm just questioning, and I'm asking the chat this. They're coming out with supposedly a marijuana beverage. I mean,
Well, that's been the story.
That's been the story, and that's been the big talk. I mean, I think if that's the case, if they're doing that, then man, I wouldn't want to have anything to do with Constellation Brands or any of these other alcohol related companies. If that's true, I mean,
why?
I don't.
Why? Give me your thesis here.
Well, because people will be drinking that instead of alcohol.
No, this is.
Yeah, but you don't think they're all going to come out with marijuana drinks? You think NBEV's just going to be the only one?
Well, it's gonna.
They're all gonna come out with pot drinks. If one does it, they're all gonna do it. And that's why this is a one-trick pony, and it's a story to.
Okay.
This is the time to be selling, I believe, now, because I think eventually, if they legalize this and they're all gonna come out with this, they're all gonna do it. I mean, they're all gonna come out. I mean, Constellation doesn't go out and buy, or take a big stake in a big pot stock for not coming out with a pot drink. They're all going to come out with pot drinks if it's going legal, or marijuana drinks or whatever, eventually. So I don't think this is going to be NBEV. I don't think they're going to have a monopoly on the marijuana drink sector.
Right.
So I completely disagree with that.
And the story is that they're developing a drink. They don't have a product. I mean, a cannabis product. I'm saying a cannabis product. They have products, but they don't have a cannabis.
I don't know
product.
anything about the story. So CBD drinks, not THC drinks. I don't follow close enough to know all that stuff. I just know I've seen this story.
It's not a marijuana drink.
I've seen this story so many times where you have a stock that's traded at $2 forever. It gets this marijuana buzz. It's like the blockchain stocks all over again. Blasts off in orbit for a couple weeks. Everybody's like, give me in there, give me in there, give me in there. And in 2 months, they're all going to want out. They're all going to want their money back because it all ends ugly. Remember the blockchain?
Yep.
The buzz behind it all? Let's look at some of those blockchain stocks. Riot blockchain. Remember Riot, RIOT? That went from $3 to $40, $46. It's $3 again. Here we are 6 months later. So these are game of hot potato. They can stay hot for a long period of time. I don't short them because I don't know where the tops are in these things. I would have thought I wouldn't have thought IGC could get to 12. So, but I'm definitely not putting my investment hard-earned dollars into these things because these little stories that get the buzz and no pun intended typically end badly when you look at them 6 months later. So all I'm saying is trade these things. If you're making money trading them, great job. Continue to trade them. If you can trade this kind of stuff, go for it. But I would say don't get stuck holding it and then thinking, okay, well, now get in the hope trade and hope it comes back. And now all of a sudden you're going to be in something and 6 months later, you're going to lose 90% of your money. So I think when I look at NBEV, 6 months from now, I think it's $2 or $3. I think when I look at IGC, 6 months from now, I think it's like $2. So that's where I'm thinking long term. Short term, I have no idea the path it's going to take to get there. But typically, this is what these things do. Joel, what are your thoughts? Do you agree with that?
I totally agree with that. I mean, I was just looking at the beverage companies. I mean, there's going to be competition for alcohol. If the beverage companies are actually coming up with the drinks, yeah, that could be good too. I'm just looking, it's going to take away from the sales. I will give my, when I talked to you about shorting stocks when they're going down, I think if you're long any of these things, you got to sell them when they're going up. I know you might make a sale at the 8 and then it gets, it keeps going. But this is, these are the kind of stocks that if you get a target here and you have a price and you want an exit, just put your order out there and get it done. Because it's one of those things where when it comes back down the other way, it's going to be hard to get it. So just, stick with your targets, stick with your risk reward ratios. Don't be afraid to take profits because it's a different story than when you're trying to get something as opposed to when you're trying to exit along.
I mean, and it's not only the blockchain stocks, we've seen a lot. There's always a stock doing this. There's always a stock going parabolic, and some go for reasons and some do keep going. But usually these small penny stocks under $1 billion companies they go parabolic for a while, they go crazy, and then the buzz leaves and they start to drift down and they start to capitulate down and everybody gets burned, it seems like, in the long run. But I mean, like I said, a trade is a trade. These things have been great money makers for a lot of people in our chat as they've been going up. But I feel like this is like, I feel like you're near the 8th or 9th inning on these things as opposed to being in the 2nd or 3rd inning. I'll leave it at that.
You still own Kodak, don't you? When it went to 13.28, your Kodak.
Remember that? Where was that go? Where did that KODK? I never traded it. Yeah. So here's another one. That was a blockchain play. Remember that was ridiculous. Look at the move right at the beginning of January. It went from $3 to 13 because they were going to get involved in blockchain. Here you are, 8 months later, right back to where it came from. The buzz ended and it ended badly. So it had a couple spikes in there. It didn't go straight down, but it took 6 months later here, gave it all back. So just remember, that's all I'm trying to say is to the investors out there, because there's going to be a lot of people who lose a lot of money in this thing. Typically, when a stock goes parabolic and goes up 500% in a week, if you're buying it up 500% a week, you typically 6 months later, if you're sticking that in there, not looking at it, thinking this is going to keep going, typically you lose money.
James
9 out of 10 times you're losing money.
James Wadworth kind of has my back here a little bit. Alcohol sales are down 25% in Colorado since legalization. So, I mean, when we're talking about, how it's going to affect these stocks. I mean, lower consumption because of the easier access to marijuana.
And I think I misunderstood your point.
Sure.
I thought you were saying that because NBev has a pot drink, I don't want to buy any alcohol stocks.
No.
I would say I completely agree with that thesis, if that's the point you're making. And look at these stocks. I mean, look at Budweiser, BUD. That thing is in a free fall here. I mean, this is NBev, and obviously, it's overseas, but Bush is sold over here too. I mean, it's been ugly. And what's the other ones here we can go to? Molson Coors.
We can go to Tap. We can go, actually, one of them.
Molson
last
Coors,
time I looked,
that's ugly.
Yeah.
There is a trade there.
Why didn't I think of this
maybe
a
we
week
should have
ago?
talked about this a month ago.
Here though, there was one exception. There's one exception to this. Look at Sam, Boston Beer.
Held up, but you know what? It looks like it's ready to fall off.
Oh my gosh! Oh yeah.
Me and Joel get short shoes on.
Do they got options in that thing? Wow. But I was
280 points on the bone there, Joel.
Oh man, I'm out at 320 or change. Lobster made a good point here. 3D printing. Remember when 3D printing, triple D.
It's always something.
Yeah, and remember who was the company that came out with the 3D apple? Remember that? They printed a 3D edible apple.
You made that up, but
no,
it wasn't going to be
an
edible apple. But it was what was it that we were looking at? It was JDOT. JDOT was involved in it. It was like, wasn't it Organomics or Oregon?
Yeah.
What was it?
Oh, they were going to do Oregon.
ONVO.
Yeah, the Oregon company. What was that?
ONVO.
ONVO. That's it. ONVO.
They all end ugly. When the buzz comes out, they end ugly. I mean, some of those 3D printing stocks have come back because they've gotten the valuations that are actually more reasonable. But when 3D got up to $90 and what it was Stratasys, like 120 or something crazy. I mean, this is how these things go. They go parabolic, and that went for a long time. Like that wasn't just a little like overnight buzz. This is literally like years. They kind of went up for a couple of years, those 3D printing stocks. So that went from 2012, 2013, 2014. Those things went crazy. But I mean, people, when you start overpaying for growth and paying ridiculous levels, like 100, 200, 300 times projected cash flows and stuff, you're asking for trouble long term. Short term, like I said, you can trade anything. Just make sure you have an out. Don't get stuck holding it when the momentum turns the other way.
In May of 2014, this is a headline from Tech Times. 3D fruit printer can print any edible fruit in minutes. Now enjoy seasonal fruits throughout the year. That was a headline, and there's a whole article here. Just on,
Craziness.
Okay. How we digress, Spencer.
We digress all the time.
us
We got
in.
1 minute before imbalances here. Just before we go to that, let's go look at SeaWorld, because here is a stock that me and Joel had for dead. We wrote Shamu off so many times. We've got this one exactly wrong. I brought this up last night, and my jaw hit the table. When did SeaWorld become a $30 stock again? This just quietly is one of the best performers in 2018. Started the year at $13. It's over 30. Shamu lives.
And the headline this morning or yesterday after the bell is that they expect their Q3 sales to increase by about $41 million. Expect their fiscal year sales to increase by about $90 million.
Absolutely incredible here. That SeaWorld is all the way back. I can't believe it. I don't know. I didn't know everybody's going to SeaWorld. I guess their attendance is going up here now. Good times at SeaWorld. Stock is bid up here in the pre-market, $32.49. Traded last night. It's bid up at $31.50 here right now. SEAS, it remains hot.
Angie Baby saying that I guess they're phasing out Shamu. Shamu is no longer performing or going to stop performing.
That was after Ate the Trainer.
Come on. Yeah. This is like 3 years ago.
No. But she says people are crowding the parks before they retire. So I don't know. Did they already take Shamu out of the water?
They've said they're going to stop using like that act. They're going to cut that.
So wait till Shamu retires and then short the stock because
there's no more patting the Shamu's tongue. Remember when we were little kids, Joel, and you could go to SeaWorld and you could actually pat the Shamu tongue? I bet they don't do that anymore.
No. Have you ever rode on a dolphin now? Have you ever done that?
I have.
Yeah, that's fun.
Mm-hmm.
That's fun.
You have to go.
Do they do that at SeaWorld?
I don't know. You have to go to I did it in the Caribbean. You have to go outside of America, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah. where they have a little bit less risk and fewer lawyers.
So all that whale exhibit, I mean, Angie, baby, I think she's down in Florida. All the whale exhibits are sold out. They're $100 a person. If you're looking for a big target on here, $35. 35.22 was your high in March of 2014. Another high in February, 35.30. So 35. I mean, it's up $2.50. Is there any volume here, Dennis, on that, or?
No, but it was good numbers. So, and it never has much. Nobody's trading SeaWorld in the pre-market, so not very much, anyways. It's bid up though. Nobody's hitting the bid. So $31 bid. There's an odd lot bidding at $31.51 on Arca. So it's bid up, and nobody's hitting it. So tell me it wants to go higher.
Yeah, I remember that stock. I mean, we haven't talked about that thing since it was. I don't even know if we talked about it this year. Spencer, can you start keeping a log of when we talk about?
We messed up SeaWorld and Hewlett Packard. Those were the two biggest, on the show. We started the show back in like 2012, and we were dogging Hewlett Packard when it was like $12. And obviously that, or Best Buy.
Best Buy. It was Best Buy.
Best Buy and SeaWorld. That's the two stocks we got dead wrong. Because me and Joel have had SeaWorld for dead. I thought it was still in the teens. I brought it up last night. Like I said, and I couldn't believe it. It's $30 stock.
Did you
wrong on that one? Can't be right on them all.
Did you automatically want to short it when you saw it up there?
I know. But you know what? I watched Weight Watchers go from like $6 to 100 or whatever it did. So I don't know. And I thought that one was dead. Me too. But never bet against Oprah. If Oprah gets involved with SeaWorld, I'm buying it.
Okay.
We're out now with Tesla just came out with their Q3 production and deliveries. They produced 80,142 cars in Q3. Remember, I believe the goal was 80,000. So
they beat it by 3,500 cars?
No, 142.
142?
142 cars. So they are like watching those numbers. He wants to hit those numbers. He did. Stock pulling back. I have this love-hate with Tesla. You don't know if you've been listening to the show for a while. When I don't own it, I want to own it. And when I own it, I don't want to own it. So I don't know how to deal with these emotions. So I'm not trading Tesla. I'll just say the bear case is getting difficult. And it depends on what Musk does next. I mean, if he comes and, shoots off his mouth again, then the bear case gets better. But I don't know. I think that 260 obviously was a gift. We didn't know that he was going to settle the day after he said he wasn't going to settle, but it was a crazy move. I know my buddy TJ, who listens to the show, bought it down there. So, and I was actually able to make the 50 points. So congratulations, TJ.
Who's TJ?
He's my neighbor. And he was just texting me on it. He bought the Tesla. And he listens to the show too. And he bought the stock down there in the 260s, and he flipped out of it there and got almost the 50 points there. So great job. But you know what? This stock is just so hated that it just continues to climb the wall of hate. I mean, there are so many people, and it's loved by people too. There's no in between. It's not like I don't have any feelings about Tesla. You love it or you hate it. I'm the only person on the fence that I don't know if I love it or hate it. So Jason Raznick's been right about this one, man.
No, I don't think it's here yet. As far as their overall, so this is good news because you know how they like to make outlandish delivery claims and then cut them. They're not cutting their overall targets for Model S, X, S or X deliveries for the year. So they're keeping their previously issued delivery guidance intact. That's good.
I'll just say I like it. I actually like it from the long side, but I can't stomach it. So that's why I'm not owning it. But I'm not shorting the stock. And I would say if you're making a call here, I think Tesla, when I look at it 6 months from now, is higher as long as Musk doesn't continue to shoot off.
Why don't you just, and I know you hate options, why don't you just buy like a leap? Like decide how much money you want.
Does it cost too much money? What's the leaps? Go pricing.
I don't have that platform open. Nick will give you a good way to play it. Let's dial in Nic Chahine. He's the author of Creating Income.
Yeah, get Nick in here.
Yeah, he was bullish down there. He did not fall for it. I don't know if he was listening to pre-market show and on that Friday.
Nick is right. He's right a lot of times.
Yeah, but
I am.
Nick Chahine, how are you, buddy?
Good. Little migraine, but it's not going to.
A little migraine.
I heard there's drugs coming out for those. Who had the migraine drug that just came out? Lily.
Pfizer.
They don't
Lily
work.
with the migraine drug.
They don't work on.
You get like a needle or something, and you're good for 6 months.
That's Botox, I think.
Oh, is that Botox?
Hey,
All right. What do you think of Tesla here? I just interrupted Joel again. I do that a lot. Joel just has to beat me more. Tesla, TSLA. I mean, we just had numbers come out. It's bouncing around. They hit the production figures by like 122 cars.
Yeah.
What do you think technically, though, here? What do you think?
I'm long.
Oh, you were long. We got another person that's long.
What? I was public about it. I went long on Friday. So yesterday it paid my mortgage for a few months.
Oh, you bought the dip.
I bought a call for $2 and sold it for over $10. So
what call? Set up the trade.
It was a 10-12 call. And so the idea was that they were running out of haters. Even the fans hated it last week. So
it's true.
Where was the incremental seller going to come from? And
that's a good point.
But the thesis was that the fact that they had offered him a settlement and he refused told me that the SEC was just looking to save face and they weren't out for blood. Otherwise, they would not offer him this ridiculous slap on the wrist that he turned down ridiculously even more. So the fact that he came to terms with them over the weekend solidified that thesis. And that was the reason I really bought it. And it was a nice pop and I booked it because I thought it was going to come into some resistance. But today's report is kind of like you said, by a few hundred cars, so you can take it or leave it. But it should be a relief pop that they didn't miss it. So it's not going to change the upside direction, in my opinion. I'm not a fan of the fundamentals the way they are right now. But this morning on CNBC, Barron was talking about it. I mean, he couldn't have sold it any harder than he did as a concept. There is that big concept of what it can do in the future. And that's what I'm saying. The thesis is so muddled that you can't kill it in 1 week or two or a month or a quarter. So it's going to be hard for the shorts to continue shorting it, especially that now there's going to be a grown-up in the room, so to speak, a new chairman. And Elon got vindicated a little bit and he doesn't tweet anymore. So, it's not the worst thing to be long on around short-term theses like mine last week.
So
I wouldn't short it. I wouldn't short it.
6-month target. You think it's higher or lower 6 months from now? Oh, he hung up on me. He didn't like that question.
Let me grab Nick back. Hold on a second.
He hung up on me.
No. I'm back here. I typed in the wrong window. I'm sorry.
I said 6 months. What do you think? Six month target.
I was gonna type the Tesla, and somehow the letter T hung up on you.
We know you're more short term a lot of times, but what are your thoughts here longer term in Tesla? You believer in the thesis?
No, I don't buy the hopium. I buy the potential, but you have to show me. So I think that I'm long. I'm staying long into the next couple of weeks, unless we get another headline. So if it pops today, I'll probably bounce out of it for a profit, and I'm just trading it. Levels wise, I see a level somewhere around $316.
Oh, huge. I just want to comment on that. In the pre-market, you just got a bump to 1480. Yesterday's high was right. We only got the 311.44 during the regular session, but I know we were trading up at 315 in the pre-market. Before the news on Friday, you had high at 314 and 315. It's just hard. I mean, if you use a close above that area, you might end up getting the stock at 322, or you may save yourself some money because it could trade up to 315, 316, and then come back down. But that 315 area, that's just huge to me on the charts.
Yeah, I can share with you a few candles that I'd be watching on the upside. So like I said, 316-ish is one. Another one would be 322 and a half, maybe 322, something like that. And one just before, above it, 327. So if you're looking for either exit points or potential pivot spots, that would be it. So if I'm long here, I'll probably get out at 316. And then maybe reload and get out at 22. On the downside, I mean, you saw the candles. They keep falling to a level. They consolidate there, and they establish it as a base in order to build up. It's an iffy stock at best, obviously. So it's a trading vehicle. And what bothers me is no, doesn't bother me. What surprises me is when you watch Fast Money on CNBC. It's a show called Fast Money, and they say don't touch Tesla on the time where it's most volatile. If you're a trader, this is the stock you should look at because that's where the money is made, up or down. If you're a trader, it doesn't mean you just go long stuff. You go long and you short. So this was the opportunity for them to present a trading idea for their audience, and they didn't. So it's a trading vehicle is the point.
Okay. All right. Calm down here. That's not the only stock here to talk about. Let's see, Nick. Let's go with GE. I know you dabbled in that one a while ago. I know you got a little bullish, and I'm not sure how it turned out. Not rubbing salt in the wound, Nick. I remember when you were bullish, and I bought it, and then I realized what a fool I was, and I got rid of it. But what do you think about it now? I mean, one day, one change in the CEO. I mean, obviously, they sold the daylights out of it yesterday. Any long-term thoughts on General Electric?
Yes. I don't remember when I was bullish. I took a bullish bet on it long-term on a technical basis, and it's not red. Last time I looked at it, I can't find it in my portfolio in front of me now, but I'll go look. Oh, there it is. Well, it is red, but it's a call out in time. So it's based on a catalyst of some sort. So it was kind of like a bet. And I still have it. It's just a call position that you pay, you spend some money and you sit on it and see what happens. So it wasn't a bullish call on its fundamentals at all because I have no idea what they do anymore. So it's just a technical saying, okay, there's a falling wedge, long-term falling wedge, and I could probably see it breaking upwards. And the fact is that I think this week they had one set of bad news and then one set of good news. Oh yeah. They changed the management. So who knows what's going to come up? And they took a big write down. So is there more skeletons in the closet they want to write down?
Who knows?
Somebody says it's a big. So it's just a pure trading vehicle at this point. I have no idea what they do, and I just bought a call a while back, and I still have it.
Okay.
It's down a little bit, but I'll hold on to it for the same concept.
Bull for Trading wants to know how your P, I don't know if you put this in right, P and then capital ER indicator testing working out. Are you a programmer too, Nick?
Oh, that was a mess around. I haven't used it recently. Yeah, I am. I'm an engineer. I'm an electrical engineer, and I've always liked to. I'm a hack. I'm not a hacker. I'm a hack. It's like Google Script. I just dabbled in it. I make code that works for me, but it's crude. If somebody looks at it and they're professional, they'll laugh at me. But it does the job. So this was something I was messing around with. I haven't taken it off, but I still look at it here and there.
All right, let's move on here with oil. Holy mackerel, 75.41 up 11 cents. What do you think of oil?
I went long yesterday on a technical basis. I don't like it up here, much like Tesla. It's concept-wise, I think it should be in the 50s, but I'm not going to short it. Technically, yesterday got pretty exciting, and I'll show you the chart. This is a weekly crude chart, CL, and it just looks like it wants to, be in the 90s. So I took some calls in the USO. A little tip on the USO is if I haven't had any luck monetizing profits unless I buy in the money legs.
Oh, you have to. It's like watching paint dry.
Yeah, spreads are difficult. When I want to bet on it, I either sell naked puts when it was down to 30 and everybody's saying it's going down to 0, or buy calls that are at the money or in the money out in time. Otherwise, I make a right guess and I just can't profit from it.
Yeah, it's tough. And then also it's not open the same hours. And so there's a big move in the futures and it's not open. But anyways, what about Papa John's here? Filled the gap from, I don't know, what you had here from August. It hit a little wall of 52 and sold off, chain up $1.83 here. I guess,
activist.
Yeah. Isn't Papa John, isn't he actually trying to sell the company on his own, or Or
Well, he's suing them.
I think he's trying to buy it.
Yeah, he's suing them to get back in the game is what's happening.
So here's my take on it. My son's 17 now, just turned 17. He worked for Papa John's for a few months. I can't believe they're in business. The store he worked at was in shambles. So maybe the franchisee himself, but I don't know. So it is he said type of a deal there, and he's an activist in there, and it's just not a good. If I'm long and I profited, this would be my exit point, because now it hit at 52. You can build plus or minus $1 or $2 there. This is a flip zone, a consolidation zone. It was support for a while. They fell into it, they consolidated, and they fell from it hugely down to 38 or whatever, and then they climbed their way back out of the hole, back to it. So are there people stuck there that want to get out? Like if somebody got in back in July 15th, say, and then they lost their money and now they're back even, they say, thank you, Lord, I'm out. So I don't know. From here, I need to see it break above 52, 50, 53 in order to chase it higher.
The fundamental story here isn't great. It's just a matter of whether they're going to sell a company or not, and that's what people are banking on. But I don't like owning stocks on the possibility that it might get sold, because what if it doesn't, and you're stuck holding something that maybe isn't even that fundamental strong. You got all kinds of overhead resistance up at 55, which is $3 higher than here. So yeah, we can get excited. Maybe it gets sold, but there is some short interest in here too. But fundamental story, like you said, isn't that great.
Yeah. Have you talked about Stitch Fix this morning? I didn't watch.
We can talk about it again.
Okay. No, I think they're selling it for the wrong reason. First of all, it fell back into a consolidation zone to a pivot point. So if somebody wants to go long it, I think it's a good idea for now, if the markets hold up, because they sold it because of a soft guide on first quarter, but they kept the full year same-ish. So it's not like they're worried about their business. They're worried about the environment. And I don't think that's a reason to sell the company down 25% on that.
Nick, before we let you go, you had some interesting points on the Fed meeting last week. And boy, the financials just are not acting well. Bank of America profited from that breakdown at $30. Just give us your interpretation of what the Fed did, what rates actually did in the market that day, and then looking forward.
Well, I think that what happened on that day is the Fed raised rates, but if you look at the TNX, I think it fell that day, and it just takes all the financials with them. I still like the financials from a value perspective. So if they sell them even harder, I would sell puts in them for income, because I'm not taking a big risk at that. They're selling almost at book value. And these are massive companies. So technically they were broken, and Bank of America filled its technical downside. That doesn't mean it's all the way down. It could go down to $29, and I'll probably nibble along there. If you wanted to look at the XLF, it probably looks the same. I haven't looked almost exactly. So they still have a little more downside room from a technical perspective, I think. Like the XLF could fall to 27.25. I'm not calling for it, but it could. They haven't been able to sustain a rally, and that's what Wall Street believes, and I don't want to go against the grain. So I'm not buying them from upside hopium. I would sell puts in them and put spreads if they fall into a zone to where I think I should do it. I would do it now, but the stock market's at all-time highs. So I have a double-edged sword. They're still falling. The market could fall. I just don't want to take that risk.
We've been on the line with Nic Chahine. He's the author of Create Income with Option Spreads. He joins the show every Tuesday at 8:35 to share his technical and fundamental outlook on the market. Nick, a pleasure as always, and we'll be speaking to you later on today.
Looking forward. Later.
All right, S&P futures climbing back here, down 375 at 29.26 Keeping an eye on that pre-market high, which is also your closing price here of 29.30. Above that, and we got through it yesterday. We got through 29.36. That was a high from last week. Another big number is the all-time closing high, 29.39.50. That was your closing high just a few days ago. So it is now 8:50 here, and we're able to track down the founder of Benzinga, Mr. Jason Raznick. You got him? Are we going to all be on?
Yeah, he's with us.
Yep, I'm here.
Raz, you got to do something with Dennis here. When he's long Tesla, he doesn't want to be long, and when he's not long Tesla, he wants to be long. And so he doesn't have
I can't
cold
stomach
today.
that stock.
Yeah. So calm him down, make him, so he can get in, dip his toe in the water.
Well,
stick
okay.
with your thesis.
Joel, I was on 2 weeks ago, right? And no, Joel, you said stick with your thesis. I want you guys to know every day you can come in and change your thesis. That is true.
That's what I do every day.
That is true. Like, we're at Benzinga, and if we come in with a new idea and we want to change it, we can test and experiment. My thesis, though, hasn't changed on this one. I said that when I was on here 2 weeks ago that Model 3 would be in basically every big mall parking lot in 6 months to 8 months. Okay. Spencer Israel, after the show, confronted me. He's like, Jason, why would you say that? I'm like, why wouldn't I say? He's like, do you really believe that? I wholeheartedly believe that. I'm seeing Model 3s now, not everywhere, but I'm seeing a Model 3 probably every 3 days, 4 days. I don't think it's even started yet. There's a Model 3 in our parking lot now that I see, and it is just so clean and crisp, and the network effects that can take place here. So, Elon Musk talks about introducing Netflix when you're charging the car so you can watch shows. But think about the network effects. I don't know if you got, I own Tesla, okay? So I want to be very careful when I talk about it this way. But think about Sirius Satellite when it was at 60 cents. And Tesla's not at 60 cents, don't get me wrong. But it's at 60 cents. Now it's a $6, $7 stock. They introduced this whole satellite radio. Tesla, if it is able to get this ubiquity and get a lot more cars out there, expect them to introduce some sort of subscription program. And by the way, Tesla isn't like a trickster. It shows you its plan. Elon Musk's plan 3 years ago was to make the cars a rental. So you're not just using your car as something that sits there. So you can it's a subscription economy. That is part of the plan, where you don't leave your car sitting in a parking lot. Someone else takes it, and basically you don't even have to pay for your car. So there's a whole model to where Tesla is taking it. Now, one thing that has changed in this story stock is Elon Musk, in the sense that you would think he'd be more careful, and what he's tweeted out has been dangerous for the stock. The positive is the SEC now has put in restrictions for him, and so maybe the stock does trade more, to the fundamentals of if Model 3 hits sales and becomes profitable. But that is a big question mark, Dennis. Elon Musk. And
that's the question mark that I can't stomach. I don't know what this guy is going to tweet out tomorrow.
No.
And I want to be a believer. And you know what? I've seen the cars, Jason. I'm a believer. Those cars are awesome looking. They put in the infrastructure in, like, Joel sent us that picture, that they got the the charge station where you were.
That was in Northport, Michigan. That was almost at the top of the Lower Peninsula, and there was a Tesla charge. Did you get that? Were you in on that? Yeah. Also, George, I have to disagree with you with the eye test, because I pay attention to a lot of cars on the road, just because, old cars and everything. And I see more of them. I see more of them in parking lots. And sometimes your eye test can be, your best indicator.
Now, Tesla Q3 deliveries, just came out at 83,500 vehicles delivered. Stock is having a negligible impact right now. A little up, it looks like, Brent.
Shopping around.
It's shopping around. It's up $1.10 at 311.80. And to allude to your point, I mean, that was Gene Munster's thesis too. That it's a car company, but it's more. It's a technology company. You get people in the cars that aren't driving. What are they going to do? They're going to be on the internet. They're going to be shopping at Amazon or ordering dinner when they get home. So, if they can get enough cars out on the road, there are a lot of parallel things that.
Did anyone see that video of that guy in his Tesla getting pulled over because the cop saw the computer dashboard and he thought it was a computer mounted to the dashboard, and he's like, "You can't have your computer."
Yep.
And the guy's like, "I can't help it. It's built into the car. I can't take it off. It's part of the car. I can't." Yeah, sorry.
I didn't see the video. I read the article about it on Benzinga, but that's the story with this stock. Now, I mean, Spencer, now that Elon Musk is tamed a little bit from the SEC, I think, it's react more to fundamentals and growth. it has to get profitable. It has to show people that it can be profitable. You know, the big question mark, what do these batteries really cost? I am long the stock and still long the stock. Dennis, I don't know why you didn't call me a couple days ago last week when it went to 260, but that's a perfect example. So Tesla went to 260 and I was long the stock. So obviously I got killed that day, but I'm sitting there thinking, okay, so is this time to buy the stock? And so for a minute, I'm like, yes, I'm going to go buy the stock. But then the next minute was like, okay, they're not going to settle. They're going to have a protracted lawsuit with the SEC. And so you don't know. The stock could be at 220 the next day. And then you're really talking about problems because, you know, one of the, that bears, here's the short story, guys. Bears will say to you, what is Tesla going to do when its debt comes due? Elon Musk says they'll refinance it. You know, they're gonna expand to China by getting assets on the building that they're building for the lithium factory or the gigafactory. So that's the bear story. Are they going to cover their debt service? If Tesla would have went to 220, like 260, and then went down and filed suit on money, and they didn't settle it that weekend, I mean, you would be really talking where people are wanting, with a proverbial jump out of the window thing. So that's why I didn't double down at 260 because there's risks that I don't know what you call it, not asymmetric, those risks that aren't underlying to the company. I mean, underlying to the company, my story stayed the same. I've been long since $38.10. My story has been the same. This is just it's a different company. I mean, I went out to Tesla's Gigafactory, guys, and it was such an unbelievable experience. I can't even tell you. And so it's like, but listen, do I want to tell someone to go buy it at 310? Yes, I'm long the stock, but it's one of these things. I know Dennis was long it too, and it's like, I'm long Square, and I've owned that one for a while, and that was because I think it's kind of the new banking for small business, the future, and I think Tesla is going to be like sort of like Joel said, your subscription economy. Yes, they'll have a car with 4 wheels and technology, but it's like, when you're on the expressway, you don't need to touch the wheel. Yes, you have to squeeze it every 3 minutes or something, so the auto driver doesn't go off. But it is amazingly accurate. And I've driven in Tesla and stuff, and it has prevented 2 to 3 accidents for me. So not to say that a lot of these cars now, the other bear story that you guys are saying in the chat room right now is, listen, Porsche, Lexus are coming out with similar competing, things. So far they haven't. It's been 7, 8 years, 9 years. No one really has. So, and the auto market is a big, big market. What is 16 million, 17 million cars a year, Joel?
Yeah, it's amazing that GM or Ford have not, for as long as they've been around, have not been able to come up with something. But.
Well, you know what? I asked that question like that. I really dug into that one because why isn't GM and Ford? Look at the valuation of Tesla. Why haven't they come in there? And we know what the answer I get. It's 2 answers, Spencer Israel. Here's the answers. 1, they already have their model that's very profitable on a combustion engine. So to change that whole thing about getting rid of combustion engine causes issues for them. Okay. The second thing is they make money on service. So Tesla makes money on No,
it's true.
I'm being serious. Spencer, Tesla makes money on the sale of the car. GM and Ford, you're going in
make money when your car breaks.
And they do. But how about this, guys? Oil changes, rotator cuffs. I don't know if I'm saying the right things. Ventricles, I don't know. But you bring your car, and there's a lot more stuff when you have a combustion engine that makes so that's where it's a different model. And then so that it's, and lastly, like, look at Tesla's ad budget, guys. I mean, now I guess it's
zero.
It's 40 million with the Elon Musk SEC file. No, It's zero. It's zero. Look at I mean, what is the Dallas Stadium? And these auto companies are sponsoring all these stadiums. So there's different margins, and this direct approach to consumer could be the winning approach. So I like how they're doing it, and think about other products that Tesla will introduce, just like it did that external iPhone charger or Android charger with the Tesla brand. The Tesla brand stands for something, and there's something to say for that.
Alrighty. All right, Jason, thanks.
I'm getting the hook from Spencer Israel.
Well, we're almost done.
No, I hear you.
Okay.
I hear you. I just want to make sure you guys know I do.
We will have a new producer tomorrow.
No. But I do own the stock, and I get heart palpitations. So there you go.
I couldn't take the heart palp. That was it. That's why I couldn't take it.
And here's a guy that
it was less than 1% of my portfolio, and I'm waking up thinking about it and going to bed thinking about it. I couldn't handle it. I couldn't stomach the stock.
Dennis, I feel a lot better that, remember, because you bought, and I feel a lot better that I sold a decent amount at 317, and I still own it, but I sold it.
I was like, that's where I was buying. I think you sold it.
Yeah, you took my bid. Take my bid. There you go. So
like Jason socked it out.
Exactly.
Jason's the only reason I'm in.
Block trade.
Yep.
All right.
All
right. Thanks a lot.
Hit the bid.
Thanks a lot, Rez. All right. It is 9 o'clock, so that'll do it for our show today. Unless you guys had any final thoughts from either of you.
Tricky day. I'll just say this is going to be a tricky day. We had some weakness yesterday. Obviously, in the afternoon, some of your tech stocks started to roll over. We saw a follow through here overnight, but we are rallying back from that here. BTFD is still lurking here. So I'll say I'm cautious here, but I'm more of a seller if I don't even know. I'm very torn today. This is a tough day.
And I'll just echo those sentiments. We made that all-time high on, what do you know? It was Quad Witch. At 29.47, we posted our all-time closing high the day before, 29.39.50. But we have been in a trading range, really little over a 40-point trading range here since September 19th. So that's tight for the SPOO. So I think here, if you're a trend follower here, you've just had another rally up, and now you have a consolidation. You really can't take the market down. So let's see if we can break out of this consolidation, break out of this range to the upside. All-time high, 29.47. All-time closing high, 29.37.50. You want to wrap things up, Spencer?
Yeah, the last thing is just keep an eye on your auto stocks. Within the next hour, we should probably get quarterly and monthly sales for the big automakers. So keep an eye on your GMs, your Fords, your Fiat Chryslers, your Toyotas, your Hondas, et cetera, there. So that'll do it for our show today. Last thing I want to mention is for those of you on the West Coast, the Benzinga FinTech Summit is coming up November 14th in San Francisco. The first 10 people to go to bzsummit.com and enter the promo code PMP, that's PMP as in PreMarket Prep, you will get half off your ticket. So that's bzsummit.com, promo code PMP for the Benzinga FinTech Summit, November 14th in San Francisco. On that note, that'll do it for our show. So thanks to Nic Chahine for joining us. Thanks to all of you in our YouTube chat and our chat on premarket.benzinga.com. Hope you all have a good day, and we'll see you on Wednesday.